It's October 26th, unusual place, because I just came out of Long and McQuaid here, where I had my guitar lesson. My second guitar lesson. I had my first one last week. And I thought, well, as long as I'm down here, I might as well walk in the warehouse district. So that's what I'm going to do, hopefully without getting run over, because it's much busier down here than when I was down here on a Sunday. But I gotta watch out my microphone doesn't fall off there. Just gonna adjust that a little bit. I'm afraid it's gonna click on the... I'll put it on my shirt instead, I think. I can do this with one hand. No, that won't work. I'll do it what I was doing, but hopefully it doesn't make too much extraneous noise. Well, this is fun. The little black thing is falling off of the microphone. So I'll get that on. My camera's doing who knows what over there. It's going to be looking at me in a minute if I don't turn it around. There we go. Put that inside the zipper, that is. Let's see if this works. There. Hello, there I am. Okay, we're off. That was fun. A very special moment in live streaming walks. The other thing is, raining, but it was raining all day. Which is why everything's wet, oddly enough. Funny how that works. We're going to walk up and down the streets here. I'm actually going to walk long ways because the traffic is less of a pain that way. So we'll go up and down and see how that works out. So the warehouse district is a lot of old buildings. Many of them are warehouses, hence the name. Various stores. This is the exchange here, which is the cultural exchange, which has concerts and that sort of thing. The only time I was in an episode of Corner Gas, it was filmed here at the exchange. It was the final episode where Brent is, they find out he's been going off and doing stand-up comedy in the city, and it was in here. And all you see of me is the back of my head holding a beer in front of a bulletin board while the cop characters walk behind me. But I am there. Look close. Branch line here. Hi, Kirk in Vancouver on an afternoon walk. Should be lots more activity down here. I think the last time I walked it was a Sunday maybe, or a Saturday. This time of day it's quite busy. Keep an eye on my microphone. I don't want it to fall off again like it did 2 days ago. It's fairly pleasant right now. I think it might be 7 or 8. So although it is damp, it's not particularly cold. Classic car audio here. Some of these businesses have been here a long time. I've walked down Dudney quite a bit. It's the next street down there. So today I'm going to walk up here and probably keep this fairly short, but I'll walk up to Broad Street, go around, come down the next street, and so forth. They don't all go through, so we'll see how that all works out. I got copies of the final print copies of Shapers of Worlds Volume 2 today, and copies of the Kickstarter version of it, which goes out to the backers. They arrived practically on top of each other from two different couriers, but within 10 minutes of each other, which was kind of funny. That means backers of the Kickstarter that produced this anthology featuring authors who were guests during the second year of my podcast, The Little Shapers. Regina Professional Firefighters Association, hence the nice mural there. That means they're going out to backers this week. People start getting them. Basically the firefighters union, I guess. Something called woodcogger over there. Don't know what that means. Don't know what a woodcog is. Or how you cog wood. I don't know. Continental engine rebuilders. That I understand. Rebuilding engines. Straightforward. That's a business I've never been in, never having had an engine to rebuild. Got a bit of auto stuff along here. That's a very old building there. I think it used to have a rail line that actually went inside it. It's there's downtown right down there. Seems to be kind of a scrap metal place now. I don't really know. He was on a tour I led around here, but that's been so long that some of the details have faded away. Then the tall building to our left, I think it's condos now, and businesses maybe in the bottom, but it was, or maybe it's not condos, maybe it's just businesses. It was a bakery for years and years. So it used to be around here, you'd always smell baking bread coming from that building. I guess this was the a printing shop, but it doesn't seem to be now, because there's a for lease sign on it. Nice old building. This one is too. Has a number of things in it now. I don't remember what it was originally. Probably says on it. Well, AD 1920. These Winger and Orc Emporium. I don't know what they sell. Mostly down one street on Dudney, and there used to be a rail line that ran behind them. Back in homesteading days, that's where people would get all of their equipment for going out and starting their homestead. Building over there used to be a dance studio, and now it's where Do It With Class Young People's Theater is, which is the young people's theater company that my daughter was in for many years. In which, from which came people like Tatiana Maslany, and whom you may have heard of, Paul Nolan, who's on Broadway, or has been many times, a number of other performers across the country came through Do It With Class Young People's Theater. My best man for my wedding, Robert Urson, is the artistic director for Do It With Class Young People's Theater. I used to be on the board briefly, and I did their programs for years. They haven't asked me, so I guess I'm not doing them anymore. This is Gallon Insurance to the right. Warehouse District continues across the street, but I'm going to stay on this side of Broad. So we'll walk up Broad for one block. Oh, if I go quick, I can get across. Not getting run over. Always a plus. Auto electric service here to the left. It's been here a long time. That building's had various things in it over there, but now for quite a while the Saskatchewan Arts Board has been over there. I've never gotten a grant from them, but I've been on the jury that determines the people who do get grants, so that's something. Urbane down there is a business store. There used to be a mattress store on this end. Project Bar, though, this is where my daughter likes to go for exercise when she's in town. In fact, she's booked a class for when she's here for reading week in a couple of weeks. That building over there, at one point, sold farm equipment. Has really thick floors so they could have tractors and things. There's an old wives' tale, or an urban myth, that it's a duplicate of the Texas Book Depository building in Dallas, from which Lee Harvey Oswald shot JFK. But apparently that's not true. Similar, probably, but it's not the same. Fairly new strip mall over here because they had a fire a few years ago. There was a Vietnamese restaurant in here that we quite liked, but they had a fire and it's not there anymore. Broad Street is quite a busy street. Across here, if this person is paying attention, one hopes. It's now called Brownstone Plaza over there. This is Centennial Market. Over here is the Value Village, where we've donated many things. Value Mall, I guess they call the whole thing. Centennial Market is in the old Sears building here, which was an Eaton's building before that. Kind of the original Eaton's building here in Regina. Then for a while it was like the Sears discount store. And then sporting goods store over there. And that went away. And now it's kind of a semi-permanent indoor market, which I confess I've almost never been into. Saskatchewan Writers Guild used to be over there. A few years ago, I competed, a couple of times I competed in a 24-hour playwriting competition. And one of those was here. I came third. I didn't take 24 hours to do it either. I was doing a show, a lyric, and I went away. Apparently there's a haunted house in there, which, if it's happening, will be happening soon, one would think. Perhaps it's not happening. Lots of parking lot here. Down the side of the building. I wonder why those two cars pulled in. I thought they were going to yell at each other, but apparently the drivers knew each other. So we'll walk all the way down to Albert Street and then come back again, as best we can anyway. You can tell by looking at it, this is a fairly old building. I don't know what was in it originally. It might be in my book, but I can't swear to that. Historic Walks of Regina Moose Jaw. It's for lease. At least part of it is. Pet store over there. Been in a few times. There's still this old house. It's one of the few. I mean, at one time this was a residential neighborhood, kind of in behind the warehouses. There aren't many of those houses left, but there's one. You can tell it's an old one. And I would say you wouldn't want to live in it right now. Richardson's lighting over there. We've bought lots of lighting fixtures over there for our renovations. not too long ago, a few years ago now. I'd end up down on 4th when I come back because the next street doesn't go through because of city property. Cash Tactical. Sounds like they sell guns, but I don't know that. Odds and ends over here. Great Computers Limited. Sales and services. Bedding store. Casa Decor over here is a furnishing and decoration store. Quality Tire over there. Looks like there's a clothing store in there too. I didn't know that. Downtown is always to the left. Well, walking this direction. Now, speaking of fires, we're coming up to where my daughter's dance studio used to be. And when she was, what, 10 maybe? 10 years ago, might even be before that. One morning she was supposed to come for her tap solo rehearsal. We had a call from the teacher saying, don't come. She didn't tell us much more, and then I happened to hear on the news that there was a fire, and it was actually their studio burning down. And the worst of it was, they had all kinds of beautiful ballet costumes, handmade from people in Brazil, were stored there, and they were all lost. It was very sad. But they kept going. They moved to Albert Street above the Dancer's Den dance floor over there. And then eventually into the new building where they are now. Class Act Studios, where my daughter worked most of last year while she was home. So this building was built, the old one was torn down, and this was built where it used to be. I liked it when it was here because if you walk that way 2 blocks, you get to Bushwhackers. So I could drop her off. She might be here for a couple of hours. I could go to the pub, take my computer and do some writing. I won't be walking down in the alleys today. A little too muddy. Car audio, game and leisure, jacuzzis. Holy smokers, best present ever. See, if I go all the way to Albert, I think I'll have to walk 2 full blocks this way because of the city yards that are down here. But that's what we'll do. And then maybe I'll walk back along Dudney. Maybe that's the way to do it. How long have I been? Yeah, it's not even 20 minutes, so. That's a government building. Saskatchewan Ministry of Central Services. How's that for a bland name? Foster shoes over here. In fact, the shoes I am wearing right now were bought at that very store. They carry New Balance, and they're the only ones, almost the only ones I've found that are comfortable for me. I have flat feet, congenitally flat feet, so I've never been able to wear anything with an arch because it just digs into my foot. It doesn't, there's nothing there to support. It's like having a rock in your shoe the whole time. And New Balance doesn't have, at least some of them don't have a huge amount of arch, which is what I need. Although before this I had a pair of Reeboks. I guess when I first started walking, live streaming, I had Reeboks. Well, I guess I could go down here without going to Albert. I'd rather go to Albert, I think. although we'll actually walk through the parking lot here. Albert, again, is the main north-south. Cuts right through the city, straight as an arrow, north to south. And so it is, of course, a fairly busy street. This used to be Office Depot, my go-to office supply store, but now, alas, it's Regina Trades and Skills Center. And I buy my office supplies at Staples, Tim Hortons, this little restaurant, Mr. Breakfast, has been here forever, all-day breakfast. But it looks a little closed right now, so I don't know if it has survived COVID or not. This has the look of something that has not. Well, tandoori kebab. Now, can I go down here? I guess I can. Maybe it's the next block that's blocked off. Speedy Glass. Truck Outfitters. Hi, Miriam. Walking in the warehouse district today, so not my usual kind of pretty landscape walk. Much more urban. Downtown right over there. This is a city yard. I think, in fact, when they do their hazardous waste drop-off, which they do periodically, I think that's where we came. We lined up along here, drove in there, and then you could get rid of the hazardous waste you might have, old paint thinner and stuff like that. Hi, Lucas in Brazil. As you can see, I missed the rain. That's why I'm out late today. It was raining pretty hard earlier. Or maybe we were in there. Either way, one of those buildings. It's a forklift over here, doing whatever it is forklifts do. Oddly enough, they don't lift forks, not unless they come in big cases, I guess. Lancashire Distribution. I don't know what they distribute. Back across the branch line. Looking straight downtown. If you look right in the distance, you can actually see the dome of the legislature at the end of the track, it looks like. And when the tornado hit in 1912, it basically came along the track here. By the time it got over here, just showing off scenic Regina. This maybe isn't the most scenic part of the town.
No, it's not.
Alleys are muddy, so I'm not walking down them today. Clearly, this is Sask Power property. As is that. Now, I've been in here. There's a escape room place in here. And I've been to a couple of times. They're kind of fun. Never been very good at them. Or the groups I'm part at haven't been particularly good at them. But have been in there twice, I think. I think we did the cabin there. They also have virtual ones, which I haven't tried, but which would be interesting. Virtual reality escape rooms. Not a going concern there. Whatever that building used to be, it's not that anymore. It says now is private property, no trespassing. And there's a truck for sale. It's another old house that's still left over from when this was more residential for people who worked sort of in the warehouses that were just down on Dudney. Now, 3 blocks that way now, I guess. Plumbing, HVAC, and hydronics. SB&W, whatever that stood for. I'd say this one is currently unoccupied as well. Refrigeration supply over there. Electrical company. Now this building at one time was Western Machine and Engineering, which belonged to my wife's family. Now it's all sort store fixtures. That was a considerable time ago. Her grandfather, it was his business primarily. Wolseley over here sells plumbing fixtures. And this was also part of Western Machine and Engineering, but it was the shop, really, where all of the metalworking machinery was, but it's been turned into condos. And I've been in a condo in there, they're quite nice. So Margaret Ann's grandparents lived in Regina from the end of the First World War to the end of their lives, so she has a long, deep roots here on that side of the family. Her mother's parents. And Sam, well, I could actually call him Dr. Samson J. Goodfellow, honorary doctorate from the university for his inventions and other things, philanthropy. He's the one whose First World War memoirs I published in 2018, in time for the centennial of the armistice of the First World War. Speaking of the centennial, it's the Centennial Market that I talked about before. Now we're at the other end of the old Sears building here. This was actually where the Saskatchewan Roughriders, now of the Canadian Football League, then a rugby club, I think, to start with. This is where they used to play. There was a field, sports field here, back in the day. This building over here is condos now. At least part of it is. But this was the first place I worked in Regina when I came here as communications officer for the Saskatchewan Science Centre in 1988. Our offices were on the 3rd floor, and on the top floor was where we were building exhibits. Speaking of the Rough Riders, this is where you can pick up a shuttle to the stadium. Antique mall there, should you be looking for antiques. And this is the backside of the Value Village Mall that I mentioned earlier. Another old building on the corner there has a furniture store in it now, I think. At least it has had. So yeah, we drop off a number of things here. They accept clothing, books, housewares. We've donated quite a bit of stuff here because with my wife's grandparents having lived here so long and having bought the house we live in 1939, stuff has piled up in the last 82 years that members of her family have been in that house. Funny how that happens. That's still a bakery, but it was a... We used to go there and buy from the previous bakery that was in there. Just to go in and buy stuff. Somehow I was supposed to know that he was being followed by a piece of equipment. There was absolutely no indication of that. And actually, I had the right of way being a pedestrian, so he can honk at me all he wants. This is where a lot of the car dealerships are along here. As you can see. I love it when they honk at you and you're the one that's in the right, because that was entirely my right of way. Oh well, at least I got him on camera. Another furniture store. Well, it used to be, I guess. It's not anymore. It looks like it's a... Oh, now it's a tattoo shop. Okay, not a furniture store anymore. In this place. And this must be the one I can't actually go through on all the way. Well, maybe I can. No, I think it closes off before I get there. So we'll go down this. We'll go down this side of it and walk along it. This is the old Sears Catalog Center. So a big warehouse, and if you ordered things from the catalog, there's a good chance it was stored in here. And then on the ground floor, it had a discount space as well. In fact, I think I bought my microwave in here when I first moved to town. BMW store over there. Dealership, I should say. Store is not quite the right word for a car dealership. We're getting into 4:30 to 5 o'clock time, so traffic is getting heavier. You can see it's quite a big building, and currently it's just empty. Loading docks. Keep expecting it to get turned into something or knocked down, but so far neither. Oh, I guess there's an Austin Mini dealership there too, next to the BMW. All owned by the same consortium, I think. Saskatchewan Public School Board offices over there. There's a Costco there. And across the street here is the cemetery. One of the cemeteries, the old one, which I will not walk through because I'm just turning left here and going down the sidewalk back toward Albert Street. Well, not exactly a sidewalk, but it'll do the trick anyway. There's the Regina Cemetery over there. Just the other side of it is the Jewish cemetery as well. So here's the old Sears building. Ooh, getting quite warm. I'm wearing my jacket, which probably wasn't entirely necessary. So loading zones. I forgot this was dirt. Well, fairly gravelly, so it's not really muddy, but it's a little muddy. Kind of forgot that when I decided to come this way. But as you can see, the cars go right by without much shoulder, so I want to stay well away from the road. It's quite gloomy over there. There's a bit of pavement. And for no particular reason, a rock. Picked up more mud on my feet than I would have thought walking along there. So this would have the probably the oldest graves in Regina, going back to the late 19th, possibly early 20th century. I'm not going to stay along here. I'm not walking all through that muck up to Albert, so I'll turn left and start making my way back the other way at this corner, because there's no sidewalk. I guess there's one on the other side. I guess I should have gone over there, but unless I get a really lucky break here after these two cars go by, I won't attempt to do that. Yeah, I'm not getting that break, so we'll go this way. Walk toward downtown. Appropriately enough, right across from the cemetery, Young's Memorial, for all your gravestone needs. Two police cars sitting over there talking to each other. I won't point the camera at them. Well, the cars probably aren't talking to each other, but the cops inside seem to be. This is all city stuff over here again. And Enterprise Rent-A-Car dead ahead. I guess you can come here to rent. It looks more like a place where they keep the cars that they take to their other outlets. Because I've rented from Enterprise and I certainly don't come here to do it. So what I'll do is walk all the way down to Dudney, I think. Then walk along Dudney back over to where the car is, so I don't repeat myself too much, except at crosswalks here. Yeah, and that's all city stuff over there. Presumably where the honky guy, the guy who honked at me was headed, being followed by his Volvo, which he somehow thought was going to get around that corner behind him, even though there was oncoming traffic. And I had the gall to actually cross at the crosswalk. Well, looks like you could come here and rent. Maybe they moved from where I last rented from Enterprise. That could be what's going on. Trouble with going this way is you do have to cross these busy streets, and they don't have crosswalks, so we'll see how that works out when I get up here. It's a very gray day, and of course, although you can't see it, the sun is getting lower all the time. Days are getting short as we move into November. So I guess we're looking sort of straight down Hamilton Street, which probably means I'm on Hamilton Street, just a guess. Or am I one over? Well, I'm on Scarth. I'm one over from Hamilton. We'll carry on up Scarth as we go by All Sorts again. And I think this is a plumbing place that was just closing up when I walked by before. Is it plumbing? Oh, electric, right. I knew that. Electric. Still one house. It actually looks like a house. For rent or for lease. Sleek is a big printer, but they have moved. Well, at least they're not out of business. They've just moved. Henderson Drive is way up in the northeast. Capital Electric. Motor repair. Regari. I don't know what a Regari is. Ragieri. Rental, sales, installation, lighting, and staging. Maybe I've been in there. Back having to rent some equipment for some show I was in. Maybe that's where we went, now that I think about it. 2D dump hauling, local junk removal specialist. There's that no longer a house, well, still a house, but nothing you'd be living in house, I pointed out earlier. Okay, this is much busier than the last road, so we'll see if I can get across it without getting run over. Looks like I can. Richardson lighting again, you can sort of tell because it's got lights in it. And Pat's Pets again over here. Klein's Electric next to it. Not sure if it's still there or not, it looks empty. There you go, some nice lighting. And me in the corner walking by. Particularly inviting as it gets darker. A couple of houses that might still be houses. Hard to be sure. They certainly have a slight abandoned look. Prairie Controls, building automation controls and HVAC solutions. Magnet signs. A little bit of everything along here. Plumbing and heating. GV Audio. Outlaw Trail Spirits. Off the leash pet grooming. Oh, that's where Co-op Taxis headquarters is. I often use their taxis. I guess that's where the dispatch is. Cylinder head service. Phoenix Auto Parts. United floors, because there's nothing worse than a disunited floor. Continental Engine rebuilding again. Walked by them once before. Can I get across this one without getting run over? Probably. If I wait for it. So again, here's this old building I was talking about earlier. This was a fire station originally, if I remember my walk correctly. Is that right? But then it was a type foundry. I think that's right. Don't know what it is now. Treehouse Lifestyle Supplies. Not sure what that means. CNG Stone Products. I don't know what that means. United Way. Granite, marble, quartz. United Way has a big building here. And I've walked down Dudney quite a bit, so no, can't go down the alley of bins. So I will stick to Dudney. Typically I usually walk the other direction, so I guess that makes it a little different. Anyway, you get that nice view of downtown. Baller's Rec Room. That's the Delta, the tall one there, tallest building in Regina actually. Sastel over there, where my wife works, the gold one. And the green one is the post office, and the black and gold one is Saskatchewan Government Insurance. Various stores along here. The Ackerman building, I've mentioned before, if you look online for a music video called Our House, I think it's called, or This Is Our House, by S.S. Minnow, if you can find it, it was there last time I looked, you'll see me in a music video that was shot in that building. This is a guitar store. Maybe I'll buy a guitar there if I keep learning to play. And again, downtown. We're not too far from the house, the car now. So Bushwhackers is in here, best brew pub in Canada, bar none. And we try, everywhere we go, we check out the local beers, but we've never found anything that made us forget Bushwhacker. It's one of the earliest ones too. Goes back to like the dawn of brew pubs in Canada. And there's other clubs along here. They tend to come and go. Bushwhacker has been there. It's a Revival Music Room. That hotel over there is quite new. Just have to get across the tracks, turn the corner, and be back at the car. Regina Rail Yard Saloon. That's a fairly new one. Never been in there. Catchy name. A wine cellar, so that's for people who make their own wine. I prefer to let people who've been doing it for hundreds of years make my wine. And Brewed Awakening here is a coffee shop I've frequented. I've frequented infrequently. That makes sense. Here we are by the railroad tracks. This building was heavily damaged in the tornado of 1912, and top floor, I remember right, the top floor was added. It was a 2-story building, and it became a 3-story building. If I remember right. Don't take my word for it. Another club. All right, over the railroad track. You can see 4 Points by Sheridan. There was a restaurant in here briefly, but it didn't last. And now it's more of just an office building. There's a barber in here, and Don's photo. I don't think Roger is watching me, but I don't know if he still works there, but he was there. I think he's still there. How was it? Yeah, I think he is. So maybe he'll see this. There's the barber shop there. So I don't know if he's in there. He might look in, but there's Don's photo, just for Roger. And then we're back to Long and McQuaid. Register for music lessons today. I don't need to do that because I already have, and I've had my music lesson for today, which is why I am parked here. And that's it. That's our walk. So thanks for walking with me today. I'll be back tomorrow. Bye for now.